welcome back. Another Tuesday night. This is the BBQ Pit Sports, aka the BBQ Pit MMA. We got for you today UFC Vegas 59 coming up this Saturday. Also a tough finale. We'll go over both of those two finale fights here. But we're going to start off Thiago Santos, Jamal Hill. Santos 22-10, 15 wins by knockout. 1-4 in his last 5 fights, though. Only winning a decision over Johnny Walker. He lost to Jones at UFC 239 for the title in 2019. Since then, he lost to Glover Teixeira, Alexander Rakic, and then Magomed Ankalaev. Teixeira, former champion, Rakic, top 5. Then Ankalaev also apparently going to fight for the title in his next fight, more than likely. He's 3-4 since moving to light heavyweight, with his other 2 losses, or his other 2 wins, being against Jimmy Manuwa and Han Blachowicz, also former title holder. He is a black belt in Muay Thai, black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, and he's coming into this fight giving up a 2-inch height and a 2-inch reach, or a 3-inch reach advantage. Jamal Hill, his opponent, 10-1-1, only loss being a TKO loss to Paul Craig, where his elbow is injured trying to escape a submission. He is 4-1-1 in the UFC with knockout wins over OSP, Jimmy Crute, and Johnny Walker, which was his last fight in February. He's got 6 career wins by knockout and has a blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu. He's going to give up a little bit of skill on the ground, but I don't think it gets there because he's got those long, rangy strikes and power at the end of those long, rangy strikes. So I'm going to go Jamal Hill via TKO. You hate a guy like Thiago Santos going 1-5 in his last 6, but it looks like that's where we're going to be at with the win against Jamal Hill. I mentioned it last week. Anthony Smith lost on Saturday. I would love to see Anthony Smith versus Thiago Santos. I hope he remains in the UFC so we can see that happen at light heavyweight. But I'm going to go Jamal Hill. Vicente Luque going up against Jeff Neal, another good one. Neal, 14-4, 6-2 in the UFC. His 2 losses include Stephen Thompson and Neil Magny. He won his most recent fight via split decision against Santiago Ponzinibbio. Other UFC wins include Mike Perry, Nico Price, Beal Muhammad. 8 out of 14 of his wins via knockout, and he has 2 submission wins, one of them being against Brian Camozzi, who I think is a blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu, so he beat a somewhat notable grappler there in Camozzi. Vicente Luque, though, this guy's a black belt. He is 21-8-1, 4-1 since 2020, with his only loss being against Beal Muhammad in his last fight. 14-4 in the UFC with his only 2 other he's got 3 other losses in the UFC. Leon Edwards, Stephen Thompson, and Michael Graves. Of course, Leon Edwards fighting for the title in his next fight. Stephen Thompson moved up a weight class and then, he didn't move up weight class, but one of the most talented strikers in that division. And then Michael Graves, that was his professional debut. I think if he had that one back, or his UFC debut, I think if he had that one back, he would beat Michael Graves given the rematch. Vicente Luque is a tough guy. He's got great Muay Thai, and if Jeff Neal comes in and boxes with him, and Vicente Luque is able to get him up against the cage and put him into a clinch situation and use his Muay Thai, I got Vicente Luque any day. I think Vicente is 10 times tougher than Jeff Neal as far as ability to not get knocked out, so I'm going to go Vicente Luque there. One of the tough finale fights, Zach Puga, Puga versus Muhammad Usman, Kamaru Usman's little brother. Puga is 5-0 professionally, and won both of his fights on the Ultimate Fighter. He won a decision over Nate Bartling and a TKO over Jordan Hinderman. 4 out of 5 of his wins prior to the Tough House were by decision. He won a decision over UFC veteran Marcus Perez in his last fight before getting into the Tough House. So that's a pretty notable win for him there. He was also undefeated in his amateur career at 5-0. So altogether, MMA, this guy's 10-0. Lots of decision wins. Muhammad Usman, on the other hand, is 7-2 professionally. He went 2-0 in the house as well, beating Mitchell Stipe and Eduardo Perez. In his 4th pro fight, he lost the decision to Dontel Mays. And then just before he got into the Ultimate Fighter house, he lost a submission to on the PFL against Brandon Sales in 2021. 5 out of 7 of his wins prior to getting into the Tough House were finishes. And then coming into this fight, he's going to come in with a little bit of a size advantage over Pega. I think they got Pega as the favorite just because of his ladder success, of course, on the Tough Show, and then never losing about in the UFC. But I don't think he's ever fought a guy with the striking style of Muhammad Usman. I think Muhammad Usman comes in, he knows how to get the job done. He's a good grappler, good striker. I'm going to go Muhammad Usman at plus 195. Book it. Brogan Walker versus Juliana Miller, another one of those tough finale fights. Walker 7-2 prior to her 2 decision wins in the Tough House. She won decisions over Hannah Guy and Laura Gallardo. She went 3-2 in Invicta prior to getting into the Tough House, with her only losses being against Pearl Gonzalez and Erin Blanchfield, both former UFC fighters. Erin Blanchfield still in the UFC. She does also have career wins over Miranda Maverick, currently in the UFC, and Emily King. Never been finished in her professional career. She is going up against Juliana Miller, who is 2-1 as a professional mixed martial artist, but she is 5-1 in grappling bouts. Both MMA wins were against, what was that noise? Oh, she's here. Were against let's see, her only MMA loss was against Claire Guthrie by decision. And then on the Tough House, she beat Guthrie and then won a decision over Caitlin Neal. Takes us into the last fight, Augusto Sakai versus Sergey Spivak. Sakai 15-4-1 with 11 wins via knockout and 3 out of 4 of his losses via knockout as well. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, all by knockout. Alistair Overeem, Rosenstreich, and then Tai Tuivasa in his most recent. He is 4-0 in the UFC leading up to these last 3 fights, with wins over Chase Sherman, Andrei Arlovski, Marcin Tybura, and Blagoy Ivanov. He is a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and he'll be armed against Sergey Spivak, who is a great sambo grappler and has immense power in his striking. He is 14-3 with 2 of his 3 losses being by knockout, Tom Aspinall and Will Harris, both fights being in the UFC. He's got 6 wins via knockout and 6 wins via submission. Never been submitted in his professional career. He is 5-3 in the UFC. His losses include Harris, Aspinall, and then Marcin Tybura. He's got a knockout win over Greg Hardy in his last fight, UFC 272 in March. And he also has UFC wins over Tai Tuivasa, Jared Vandera, and Alexei Olenek. Striking, hands down, goes to Spivak. I would give the grappling as far as submission goes to Augusto Sakai, but I think Spivak might be the stronger wrestler out of the two, meaning he could possibly keep the fight standing and use his striking. So I'm going to go Sergey Spivak with that one as well. Prelims, Ariane Lipsky versus Priscilla Cachoeira is probably going to be on the main card. Sam Alvey versus Michelle Olajasic. Takashi Sato giving up a huge size advantage against Brian Battle. That should be a good one. Terrence McKinney returns against Eric Gonzalez. Jason Witt versus Josh Quinlan. Miranda Granger will be taking on Corey McKenna. And then Myra Bruno Silva will be going up against Stephanie Edgar. We'll be back in a couple of minutes to do the AFC East breakdown for the season. Make sure you tune in and check that out. Until next time, stay barbecued. You guys know what it is.